Hey, what's shaking, peeps?
Beeps. Really? He didn't have his pancakes today.
What? If you don't know where these lines come from, you should definitely go play the video game. Or what you should really do is go to YouTube and just watch the Young Justice Legacy movie and find out all these fun things.
Recognize Umbral Walker D01. Recognize the Caleb G D02.
Hello, team. Welcome to an Intel update number 4, if I remember correctly.
That's true.
Rich, how you doing?
I'm okay. I'm a little sad today.
Oh, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, guys, we are doing one of our Intel updates here. As you know, we record our episodes pretty far in advance, so we just like to take a second to talk to you in real time and chit-chat about what's going on in the Young Justice world, what's going on in our world as well. These episodes are more fun, a little bit loose, a little bit less edited, so yeah, we're just here to chat and have a good time. It is snowing where I am right now, and that's dumb, because I wanted to go on a walk.
Oh, it's 75 and gorgeous because, San Diego's pre-programmed.
I hate you a little bit. Not that I'd want to be out there. I don't want to be out in 75-degree weather. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, way too nice for you.
Yeah, I can't handle that much. I need it cloudy and overcast, a little bit of rain.
Get back in your pod, Caleb.
That's not that far off from the truth. I do find myself sleeping in a closet from time to time.
That's fair.
If we can throw a mention to those wonderful YJ Comics, hashtag buy YJ Comics.
Right, exactly.
So, hey, we are here to talk about what is going on in the Young Justice world. We have had a little bit of news recently about Season 3.
Well, yeah, a little bit, maybe. Sort of. Have we?
There are details. I think there was a picture posted on Twitter. Something, right?
Yeah, the update was a picture of blank cards and a wall of potential plotting. Christopher Jones, when we were chatting with him, when he was offline, he was telling us that he had gotten a chance to walk into, I think he said it was Greg's office. And Greg's office is like one poster, and then the rest of the walls are covered in color-coded, 3x5 cards with all of the plots for multiple seasons all up. And so we got a little photo of that from, I think, Brandon Vietti recently as well. But other than that, there's really not that much more. But what I have been seeing, I think both of us have been seeing, is I think a steady increase in frustration. So either real frustration or like passionately, lovingly exaggerated, excitement kind of frustration that people really want this season to get aired soon. But man, it is. So we wanted to bring this up. It's important, really important to note that animated series take a long time to produce. But here's the extra kicker for Young Justice. We don't normally get any kind of heads up that they're even happening until the majority of, say, a season of a new show is actually produced. So we'd get an announcement with like a trailer with like a bunch of scenes and stuff. Like with Young Justice, we got an announcement, but not an announcement that it was close or even that it was coming or currently under production. We got an announcement that it had just been greenlit. I mean, Greg Weisman hadn't even been hired back to Warner Brothers at the time of the announcement. He signed his contract the following Monday after the announcement. And we know that because we were supposed to interview him the next day on Tuesday, and he had to cancel because he was now under contract. So anyway, I go into a little bit of this in our season finale episode. Like, if you want to understand like what it really takes to produce any kind of animated show, but particularly one that's so well done like Young Justice, then check out the season 1 finale's Canary debrief. I hope that gives you some kind of idea of what the creative team, has in store and why we should all, try to be patient. It will get here. and I have absolutely no doubt that it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. And we all know that one of the hallmarks of Young Justice was the insanely high production value, both in script writing, in voice acting, in the art, the style. And there's just so much to do. We don't know what is happening in season 3 yet. We don't know if it's picking up right where season 2 left off, so we don't know if our character models are even the same. I mean, if it's even a little bit further ahead, a couple months, whatever, we might have new costumes. We might have a new look for some of our favorite characters. We might have brand new characters that have to get designed and approved and drawn. There is so much left to do.
Yeah. I will say this, though. We do have a fairly reliable source who told me that Warner Brothers told Greg and Brandon, we back you. We know Young Justice had fans. We are fans as well. It's just getting it produced and having the money to make it is the bigger challenge. But they told Greg and Brandon, do the show you want to do. So that means that this show will be what Greg and Brandon want to have happening. So I don't know what that means, if that necessarily means that they're going to go for a streaming option where they don't have the same restrictions they had by Cartoon Network and that kind of stuff. But one way or the other, I think we might be seeing maybe an uptick of quality and detail and broadening of storytelling potential. So that's all great news, man, and it is well underway. So
maybe they're going to take it to HBO and see Nightwing dropping F-bombs and
please don't do that.
Punching people's hearts out and putting on giant powered armor and facing off with another dude who has the same name as his mom.
Dick Grayson already punches my heart out. So
Oh, you know what? Totally off topic, but sort of related. They had an announcement that they were doing a Harley Quinn Batman short that's, I think, going to come out with the next Teen Titans Judas Contract movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Bruce Timm is behind it. He's working on it. They've got, of course, Kevin Conroy's Batman, but they're also bringing back, and I'm so sorry that I didn't look this up ahead of time because I literally just remembered it, the original voice actor for Nightwing back from animated series.
Oh, wow. Nice.
As they were transitioning from Robin to Nightwing, they're bringing him back to be Nightwing again with Kevin, who's Batman, of course.
Outstanding. Yeah, we also have, there was also an announcement that they're going to do a live-action Nightwing movie, which I am full of mixed feelings about. And also, I guess, Joss Whedon has been wrangled into doing a Batgirl, Barbara Gordon movie, too. So I know we don't talk about the live-action stuff very much, but that's kind of a big deal. Nightwing getting his own live-action movie is a big deal. They better not mess it up. That's all I have to say.
The wrath of Rich Howard shall rain down upon them.
Oh, you did. I mean, I aim my passion into positive manners. You do not want my passion aimed for the use of evil. Let me tell you.
A burning fury that could consume 1,000 suns.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's where we're sitting at news-wise. Of course, we will keep everyone up to date and current as we know anything, as it is confirmed, which is very important.
Yeah, exactly.
We will communicate that with you. We've heard a lot of false rumors, and I pride myself in our ability to shoot them down.
Yeah.
And by myself, I mean yourself, because you do all the work. But what we always do here in our Intel updates, we also move on to talking about the people that are helping us out here with Patreon backers and reviewers. We've got a lot of love here to share, so we want to take a second and go into giving some shout outs and thanks.
Let's do it.
So, Rich, why don't you go ahead and start with our patron backers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Recognize Jill Demoniac, D05.
Recognized Emily of Arden, D12.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait.
What's that?
Hey. What's up, guys?
Hey, we've got 2 new people in the cave.
What's shaking, peeps?
Hey.
Hey, why did our computer let you in?
I guess they got that override code that Vandal used.
Hashtag Vandal did nothing wrong.
Hashtag Lex Luthor's a good guy.
That's right.
So-
What's up, Neil? What's up, Emily?
We have
Nothing much.
the same letter recognized codes that you guys have, so
Yeah. We're just as important.
it's only because I make them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You. Hey, guys, we actually wanted to have Neil and Emily on. We wanted to, you guys have all heard Neil on his guest spot, and you've heard us probably chatting a little bit about what all the work that he's doing for us behind the scenes, but we wanted to have him on the Intel update. Please welcome Neil Powell, our Whelmed, the Young Justice Files producer.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show.
You probably also know Neil's voice from his myriad of other podcasts.
Yeah.
Opportunity for a shameless plug, sir.
That would be the Dungeon Master's block. The place where we talk about the Dungeon Master, the only person capable of playing God, killing characters, and lowering the egos of everyone else at the table. Or DMnastics, the place for Dungeon Masters to work out their minds. I don't know how to say those without saying the taglines, so there you go.
That's perfectly fair. And also Emily, who you guys just heard actually in her extremely well-received two-parter. Well done, Emily. People loved it.
Thank you. I was a bit surprised.
Were you? I was not surprised.
Well, thank
Not
you.
surprisingly. You're welcome. Yeah, but we actually have some big news. So, Caleb, why don't you dive in? Because I'm going to go grab some Kleenex.
Well, before we get to that big news, I'm going to ask a question of Emily, only because we literally just finished recording the regular episodes for the ending of season 1.
Yes.
What was your opinion of the Smoochies?
They were all very good. I was very happy with those. Yeah. Just if that wasn't made clear, I care about characters being in love with each other. So, when they express that, I'm very happy.
Nice.
I may have cheered the first time I watched it. There.
Of course you did.
That's a very real possibility that I had some Saturday morning watching the show in my pajamas where I legitimately cheered because all 3 of my ships got together in 5 seconds.
Nice.
Neil, did you have an opinion on the Smoochies?
I did not have a outwardly expressed opinion like Emily did. But again, we already discussed off air that I am just happy at the existence of emotion, not any specific one. So I also enjoyed the Smoochies. Also, I want them all to be called shipping labels, not shipping names, because I want it to be a consistent joke through the whole thing. But I don't know that I can make that happen.
Shipping
All right,
labels.
well, it's apparently 3-1 against me about my Smoochies' opinion. So
You
It's
didn't-
because you have no
don't like
soul.
them? I'm sorry.
I have no soul. I'm dead and dark inside. I have no emotions.
Caleb,
I'm like
you're fired.
I'm like Tornado. What? What?
Oh,
what?
no.
Oh, I can't stand this. I quit. Mic
That's it.
drop.
You're
I'm out.
Congratulations, Emily. You've got his job.
It's like that.
Rich, stepping up with the bits. Well done, sir. I approve of you fighting through the emotions to make a joke. You've earned my respect today.
Thanks. It's my last chance.
Very much. Guys, joking aside, if you didn't roll that insight check to see what we're getting at, I am stepping down as host, as co-host, as Rich's partner in crime, as the foil to his emotional love of Young Justice. I don't know if I mentioned it on one of our earlier shows or not, but I got a new job earlier this year. Same company. I just got a transfer to a different position, and that job has me so locked down with a work schedule that I just do not have time to record anymore. Rich's schedule has him working when I am off and off when I am working, and it's just not going to happen, mostly because he's in California. So, hey, if you want to pick up and move, buddy, I'll be good to go.
Thanks. Putting that in my lap. No.
Yep.
There's white stuff
Yeah.
falling out of the sky where you are. Rich and I are in sunny California. I think it's a good idea.
That's
Oh,
right.
Fine. All right. So, yes, because of all of that, it's just not going to work out to record season 2. And via a pure stroke of luck and a little bit of a miracle, Emily came across the table here, and she so graciously has agreed to step in and deal with Rich.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the best part of this is that Emily didn't even know that she had applied for the job at the time.
I was not aware. No one told me this was happening. I was very shocked and surprised.
We put a lot of thought into this, actually. We had been thinking about this for a long time because Caleb clearly got this job a while ago, and we've been trying to think of contingency plans. Neil actually came down, I should say, to my house, and we had been chatting about it as well in person about what we could do. And, we were like, what do we need? We need someone who knows the show backwards and forwards, but somehow has not read every comic and knows everything, so it can be like a nice counterpoint. We need someone who knows a bunch of stuff about things that I don't. We need someone who's articulate. Yeah, exactly. We need someone who's articulate and well-read and can write. And where in the world are we going to find this person?
Okay, go on.
Hey, she's wearing red today. Maybe it is Carmen Sandiego.
Well, never know.
If you have that giant Carmen Sandiego hat in your closet, I will just swoon and fall off my chair.
Oh, she's reaching for something.
Damn it!
Oh.
Damn it!
Sadly,
but it was definitely when she showed up to her episode wearing a Superboy t-shirt where I realized that all the stars were aligned. And then that was what was going on. So we had talked about it behind the scenes, and we were like, well, let's find out how she is on air. And she was clearly fantastic. We've gotten, again, such positive feedback across the board about her guest spot. So we offered her the job right after that. I don't know if Neil's gonna.
I probably will. I apologize in advance, Emily. I will probably edit some of the audio of Emily experiencing the absolute brutal blindside from Rich of, hey, that was great. How about doing this for season 2?
Yes, we have the audio of me stammering like an idiot into my mic and being shocked and confused for a good 5 minutes of just me not knowing what to do. I'm pretty sure I said yes pretty quickly and then just sat there being like, wait, did that even just happen?
You actually didn't. You didn't say yes. You actually were just staring at me through the video, and I was like, I can't tell. Is that?
I said yes in my mind.
Yes, exactly. It was very exciting. So, nailed it. No one nails it. Good job.
Thanks.
Woo.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was fun. I thought it was really funny that you mentioned doctoral theses because I actually wrote an entire paper in high school. My junior year research paper was about the representation of women in comic books, and I got an A on it. So apparently my teacher liked my thoughts on that.
You're not the only one, and I'm so, as a super geek, I'm so happy that there's an academic. It's just comics and those kinds of stories are being taken a little more seriously as literature and a representation of culture, which I really appreciate. Funny that you should say that. You don't, unlike other people on the show, you don't really have like a podcast and stuff because Caleb actually may not be able to do season 2 with me. And I would like to invite you to be my co-host on season 2 if you are interested in something like that.
That would be amazing.
Awesome. We can think. You can think about it a little bit. This was a little bit. Sorry, this was a little bit of kind of like an interview. We had been thinking about a lot of different options for things because Caleb's job is getting to be a little crazy, and he's not able to have like the regular recording schedule, and Neil has got a whole other podcast thing going on. And also, to be perfectly blunt, there's a very specific kind of person I was looking for. I really wanted to have, Caleb's younger than I am. He has a different perspective. He hasn't read the comics that I do, and it gives that dynamic that we need for the show that I can't provide myself, and that
You know what I mean? So that we have a different perspective on what's going on. So that was one thing.
Absolutely.
I really liked the things that you have been putting on Twitter, and the things you've been sharing with us showed me that you can really articulate some very interesting points about what's going on. And to be blunt, I really wanted to have a woman on the show. Like, I loved having Darcy on, and Kat Cool's coming up, and I just thought, God, if I could find all of these checkboxes, it would be great. And as you and I were talking, I was thinking, I think Emily might be someone we want to do this with. And, so when we were doing the recording, I was like, yeah, I think we're going to do this. I think I would like to have that happen. So if it's something that you might consider, then let's talk about it. Caleb and Neil want to listen to the recording, and Neil's going to edit everything up, of course.
Yeah. If there's anything you need to cut, because I know I ramble a bit, feel free.
No, Neil makes me sound very articulate, so don't worry about it. Like, he's a genius when that's concerned. So is that something you might be interested in doing?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. Of course, I am a student and I have a lot of things to balance, and I do theater and everything, and that takes up time, but I would love to, and especially because year's coming to an end. I'll have way more time over summer vacation, because that's a thing I get as a student. But
that's actually something
love to.
I considered as well. And the fact that you have some weekdays, I work heavily on the weekends, and weekend recording is really a hard time for me, but weekdays seems to work. It works best. So it seemed like that might be something we might be able to figure out. So
yes. Definitely.
Okay. I'll let Neil and Caleb know that we talked about it a little bit, and that you're interested.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested.
And see if we can work everything out. Okay.
Yeah, totally. Keep me updated. Keep me updated on what everybody else thinks. I understand if anybody else is like, no, we're not letting this girl anywhere near this. But
the only thing I can think of is the fact that you and I are both so excited about everything. Like, Caleb manages to rein me in a little bit. So that might be a thing we're going to have to keep an eye on for sure. But no, I think it would be a really, really cool thing, and I would really enjoy having you on the show. I think that you would be a fantastic addition. So
okay,
we need to roll out season 2 when we sit down and do recordings. Typically, if we do like whatever works out, like a Wednesday or whatever, we tend to do 3 or 4 episodes at a time. I do the outlines, and then Caleb does the editing of the normal episodes, and I think he's going to continue doing editing, and he's still going to be part of the show. It's a train wreck trying to get the two of us to try and get in the same room. We're still trying to figure out how to just do the last 2 episodes of season 1. We've got everything recorded until then. So it would be something where you'd be coming on for the kind of a break part between seasons and then having you start the new season. And in addition to that, I'm going to talk to the guys. This recording, I may see if we can. You're like the 16th discussion, and we just aired like 8. So like it would be months before this airs. But what I may also do is see if we want to move you up the schedule a little bit to kind of see, just kind of have you be out there early so people know your voice and that kind of thing before we do a season 2 and kind of see how that goes.
Yeah. I can totally understand that.
Okay. Cool. Are you okay?
Yeah, that was just really surprising. I'm like, okay, oh my God. Was not expecting that.
Yeah, I kind of figured you probably weren't expecting that. No.
Yeah, no.
We haven't actually let a lot of people know that Caleb isn't, he's been wrestling as it is, just trying to get everything straightened out with his schedule.
Yeah.
Which has caused us a lot of stress, because I'm like, who the fuck am I going to get to do this with? I'm not doing season 2, and I'm not doing it by myself. So, we put a lot of thought. We were like, well, what if we do serial guests and like different guests every episode? And Neil already does that for one of his other podcasts, Gymnastics, and he's like, do not do that. It is a nightmare of scheduling. And I was like, okay, so we got to find a regular co-host that covers things that I don't know. That I don't know, perspectives I don't have, and things I don't know, and a different generation would be the best. Yeah, so you kind of fit the bill. So
tick all the boxes. I can be the female teenage whatever.
Well, yes, but that's not all of it. Those are bonus. Those are icing on the cake. The reason I really want you on the show is because you're clearly a well thought, educated, articulate individual who has watched the show enough to be able to quote things and episode names off the top of your head, which I need because we both need to be on the same page as far as the show is concerned. But you also didn't grow up reading the comics like I do, which gives you a completely different perspective on the fandom. Plus, you're buried in a
first introduction to a lot of characters. Right,
which is a perfect dynamic. And the idea that you're buried in a part of the fandom that I don't know anything about. Yeah. So all of those things are really what it is. Yes, the fact that you're a woman is bonus because I want some more diversity on the show. But that's not what I'm talking about. You get that, right?
Yes, totally. I was making a joke, not assuming anything.
I get it. I totally get it, but I needed to make sure that was clear.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
totally.
Because it's important. It's just important to me that's clear. Okay.
I understand.
Cool. All right. So I'll talk to the guys and I'll let them know, and then you and I can just keep chatting and we can figure something out. Because once Caleb and I finish recording season 1, then I'm going to want to roll right over into season 2 pretty much fairly quickly, I think.
Yeah.
And we like to have, like 2 months ahead of time, like 6 to 8 episodes ahead recorded.
Yeah.
Because life happens. My family was sick for 2 months and we literally recorded, I think, once over 8 weeks. And if that can kill a podcast. So we'll want to keep moving at a decent pace, but the fact that we can record 2 or 3 episodes and it's not topical stuff we're talking about, it's a show from years ago, so we can really crank out several in one sitting. Definitely. And that hopefully should be easier for you. And that way we don't have to record every week. We can record every couple of weeks, and that might be a little easier for your schedule as well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Just especially right now because rehearsals and opening night is all of next week, so I'm fitting this in as
we don't need to worry about any of this for probably
I'm just
six
saying,
weeks or something.
My current crazy schedule of being I'm not free ever except Wednesday afternoon is just because right now, really, because of that's how theater goes. But
of course.
After that, I'd be a bit more free and more able to do things at different times.
Okay. All right. That sounds good then. All right. Thanks so much for recording. You can stop recording. I did not stop recording.
So welcome to the show, Emily. We're really, really excited to have you.
Thank you. I am very excited to be here.
And I think I can very safely and confidently say that Whelmed is in the most excellent hands with this team as we go forward into season 2. I am super excited to be a listener and not hear everything that happens behind the scenes, so I can have some sense of wonderment and surprise at all the cool things that happen. Something else to keep you guys aware of as you're listening to this, we are, of course, wrapping up season 1. We've got some discussion episodes to catch up on. We've got a fun bloopers episode in store for you that's got some really goofy moments. But as we are moving on to season 2, we are going to have a little tiny bit of a delay in our weekly schedule. Emily is a student, and she is wrapping up some classes here in the spring as she is knocking out Shakespeare and doing all kinds of cool things on stage.
Yes.
So we will probably be looking at picking up season 2 with our regular releases after just a short couple weeks. But in that time frame, we will be catching up with our discussion episodes. We have so many of them on the back burner. We will try to get Rich back into the cave/studio here to do some Secret Origins and hear a little bit of love with, I don't know, maybe our favorite redheaded speedster with his foot in his mouth all the time.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, poor Wally.
So we will definitely keep the Whelmed train running as we transition into season 2.
Yeah.
I love season 2, guys. Season 2 is so cool.
Yeah. I think it's important to note, too, that Caleb isn't going to be gone completely. He's going to be...
I'm gone completely. All social media deactivated and deleted. You can no longer communicate with me whatsoever. This is goodbye forever.
Amazing.
Yay! Caleb's gone! Yeah! That's what you're all thinking. I know it.
Oh, I had to turn my video off because my internet connection's terrible and you can't see the tears in my cheeks.
Oh.
Well, obviously that's what's getting in the way of your Wi-Fi.
Clearly.
Water's not a good conductor.
The salty tears in my computer. Yeah.
But seriously, what were you going to say? Because I have no idea.
Oh, actually, I don't remember what I was going to say. That Caleb is actually still going to be with us, including if you're a Patreon backer. He will be doing our villainous secret origins when we reach that goal as well. Emily, what do you have to say about being on the show? Anything?
Who are we directing this question at? Sorry, can't hear you.
Oh, Emily. Sorry, Emily. What?
Yes.
So Emily.
Sorry.
How do you feel about being on the show?
I'm very excited. If that wasn't clear, I'm sad that Caleb has to leave. I don't like. I'm not like pushing Caleb out of the room, being like, go, let me do the thing. But
guys, she's got my arm twisted behind my back. It really hurts.
But I am very excited.
She learned from Canary.
I did. I actually cosplayed Black Canary one year. I had that costume for Halloween. I did like the Young Justice version of Black Canary. There are photos somewhere in the world. But yes, I am very excited to be joining the team. I'm very excited to get to do this and get to share all my thoughts on this show and hear all of the amazing things Rich is going to say. And just, I'm excited to be here if that wasn't clear to everybody.
Outstanding.
Welcome to the world of professional podcasting. You are now stuck here for life.
Yep.
And it never gets any better.
Yep.
We hate it. No, we love it. But hey, since we're all here as a team, why don't we do a cool team activity?
Team bonding time?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Team bonding time. We're going to do a trust fall over the internet.
Yay.
Everybody tip over in their chairs right now. For those of us who are not watching the video, which is everybody, some people on this video stream threw themselves off their chairs. I didn't think that would happen.
I think it was the two people with emotions, I think.
Oh, see, there we go. That's why Neil and I are fine.
No,
I'm
I just lean-
I'm used to trust falls. That's a
I
thing
lean
we
back a
do.
Well, one of the things we do with our patrons is let them send in letters and questions. So we've got 2 questions here today from our Team Beta member, Marcus Lang. And with all of us here, why don't we throw out these questions and see what's going on? Marcus's first question: who is your favorite character that you feel is underrated / underappreciated? And what character do you feel is the most overrated? Please explain your answers. Rich, don't talk as much as you're going to talk. That's all I'm going to say.
What order do you want to go in, though?
I don't know.
All right.
I think Neil should go first.
Neil should
Let's
try
do it,
and
Neil.
tackle world peace because that's easier than this question.
Hey,
Ooh.
It's such a tough question, and Emily and I were talking about it before, and Young Justice does such a great job at showcasing characters to the point where it's like, oh, here's your own episode while continuing the overall plot threads that are happening. So I couldn't pick one because the only 2 I could maybe pick are the 2 that Caleb and Rich like, and then I'm in trouble and I don't want to do that.
Wait, who do I like? What's going
No,
on?
I'm just kidding. I'm giving you guys a hard time. So if we're allowing season 2, obviously, then I want to see more of Wonder Girl. Because that's kind of the best way that I could figure out approaching underrated or underappreciated, or people that I wanted to have more screen time, and that only really comes into play for me once we get into season 2 and start adding more team members.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I can go hand in hand with that, literally hand in hand, actually, and say Tim.
Hey.
So, yeah. I knew Emily would appreciate that. Yeah, I want to see more Tim. I want to see them. I know that Dick Grayson has kind of taken some of the key characteristics of Tim that is usually associated with him. And so I want to see what they do with Tim, and I hope they do some of the things that we've talked about here on the show, which is making him more the hope and shining light that he used to be instead of like the all emo kid I guess he is now, which is a bummer.
I like that with our powers combined, we are Wonderbird.
That's right.
The ships
Neil and I
everywhere.
are Wonderbird. Dude, we should totally cosplay that.
Oh, man.
Do it.
What about you, Emily?
Okay, so as we've said, this is a really hard question. It's an amazing ensemble cast, and everybody gets a great amount of screen time, and that's awesome. There weren't any characters that I really felt I was like, I don't know enough about this character to care. So looking through all of the many, many characters on this show, the one that I came up with, I have two. I listed two. One that got almost no screen time and one that got a decent amount of screen time. I picked Alana from season 2 because I felt she was really interesting. I liked her in the one episode she was in. You're talking
about Adam Strange's love interest on Rand?
Yes. Yeah. I thought she shows up for one episode, but she seems really interesting. She has cool powers. She's good at fighting. She's good at science. She's got a bunch of great lines in that episode. I'm like, I want to know more about you. I want to know what happened with you and Adam Strange after this episode ended. I want to know all this. Why don't you show up again? So I'd love to see more of her. I feel like she's a bit underrated, but that's me picking a character that was in one episode. That's how I have to pick underrated. And the other one I picked that's not underrated at all, but I still would love to see more of her is Cheshire. I love Cheshire, who gets a great amount of screen time and is really cool in the show, but I feel like there are certain moments and there are little small moments in certain episodes where she seems really human that explore the more normal side of her that we don't get to see, and I'd love to see more of that, more of her being a person instead of just trying to kill people with knives all the time. Because I think there's a very interesting character there that I would love to see more of in a season 3.
Yeah, that seems fair. I don't think I can pick an overrated one. Did anybody pick an overrated one?
No, I was going to pick Nightwing, but then you'd be pissed at me.
The only thing that came to mind.
No, but this is the conversation that Emily and I had before we jumped on air. Was like the only person you can really think to pick would be Nightwing because of the amount of screen time and the amount of love that he gets. But then it's like, but it's completely justifiable. So then I don't know how to say that he's overrated because it's like, this is the person I want to see and to see develop and do all these things. But it's like, I don't know. I guess I can pick on him because people like him. That's the best I had.
Right. What about you, Caleb? Oh, sorry, Emily.
No, Caleb
doesn't
go.
like
It's
Superboy.
okay. I'll stop interrupting Caleb. That's what season 2 is
So,
Oh, nice.
wow.
I'm sorry.
This is so good.
No, that was fantastic.
I'm sorry.
Just gonna take my headset off and walk away. No. So here's my answer for the underrated side of things. Plastic Man.
Very nice.
Perfect.
Because he is always a goofy, stupid character, but his story arcs are always about the fact that he is a forcibly reformed criminal.
Yeah, exactly. He's actually
much.
has a pretty interesting background. Exactly. Yeah.
And considering that we saw him become a league member at the end of season 1, season 2 is so focused on the team, we don't see a lot with the league itself. But if we look at the team, all these young, impressionable kids interacting with a criminal who's kind of a good guy, that could be really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Plus, that would be more opportunity to have Batman bossing him around, being a grumpy old man. Because in most instances with Plastic Man, Batman was around to beat him up and keep him in line.
Yeah, absolutely.
Specifically the Batman Brave and the Bold interaction between the two of them was always hilarious, and I think it'd be a fun counterpoint to see it in the Young Justice version. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's great. I just realized I had another one which I talked about in the show, which is, I don't know if they're underrated, but underutilized, were the Hawks, actually. I want to see more of the Hawks, but I talked about that in the show, too.
Isn't it like one collective verbal line between the two of them?
No, neither one of them have any lines. They don't say a thing.
I thought Hawk Girl said
Wonder-
something
Wonder-
when it's like we need to add more women to the league.
No Wonder Woman says
she
that, I think.
Wonder Woman says that, and I think Hawk Woman says yes, maybe.
In
Says
chorus,
here,
yeah.
I believe. She goes
Yes,
all
in
down.
chorus with other people. Yeah, so there's the
Right,
one line
right.
mixed in with two other people.
Right.
We could always see some more Wonder Woman too, because I do really
That's true.
enjoy Wonder Woman as a character.
That's true. All right, let's move
All
on to
right,
the next
well,
question.
Yeah. Oh wait, Emily has another answer. I was interrupting her this time.
The only for overrated, because I don't think there are any overrated characters. My mind, when I was writing notes for this, my mind immediately wrote down Lagoon Boy, and then I remembered that I'm just one of many people who didn't really like Lagoon Boy that much in season 2. So he can't be overrated if I'm not the only one who didn't like him. So even that doesn't even work. The one character that I wanted to see less of, I can't even call him overrated because tons of other people agreed.
That's right. Poor Lagoon Boy. I just feel bad for him, really, more than anything else.
Honestly, a little bit. After multiple viewings of the season, I'm like, oh,
Neil's shaking his
you
head.
Poor confused sea creature.
Neil's just shaking his head.
No, I think it's fine.
All right,
next
so
question.
let's move on to Marcus's second question. Let me read it out here. Poison Ivy is one of my favorite characters in the DC universe. What are your thoughts about her as a character in general? Do you feel she was portrayed better than other A-list villains in Young Justice, i.e. Joker or Riddler, or did she fall flat? While we are on the subject of Poison Ivy, do you have any cool trivia on her, or perhaps a favorite comic book or TV series with her in the story? It's a lot of questions all at once, Marcus.
Yeah, I have some opinions on that. Everyone's shocked.
Go ahead. You spoke first.
Yeah, I mean, we don't get to see a lot of Poison Ivy at all, but am I correct? She was voiced by Alyssa Milano, I think, in
You
that
are
episode.
correct.
Yeah, am I correct?
Oh,
Yeah. So, I'm a
But
big
she was
Alyssa
not the
Milano fan,
boss.
but honestly, so as far as compared to the Joker in that episode, I think she was better. But we only got her in that basically the one episode, so she wasn't worse than the Joker. So that's something, I guess. I would like to see some more of her, I suppose. But again, she gets a ton of airplay in the Batman animated series. And honestly, the early seasons where she has the relationship with Harvey Dent before he becomes Two-Face in the early, maybe the first, I don't even know, 10 episodes of Batman the Animated Series before he becomes Two-Face was brilliant. You should go watch that. The two-parter Big Bad Harv, where he becomes Two-Face and has Poison Ivy all involved in that as well, is super good. If you haven't seen that, go watch that. Amazing.
I like Poison Ivy as a character. I think a lot of times she does not get the justice that she deserves. I think she is very frequently locked into the femme fatale role, and while she does it really well, no one really ever gives her a chance to be more than that. Because in almost any time she shows up, she is always the same character of, oh, I'm Poison Ivy. I'm going to use pheromones to make these silly boys do what I want them to do. Plants. That's it, right? I mean, she was the Uma Thurman version of her was horrible, but I blame Schumacher for that, not Uma. God, forgive me for saying this. I don't even want to utter the word. The Gotham version of her was god-awful. I stopped watching that show, finally, and I feel much better. But what they did with her in that show was just atrocious. I mean, I haven't read what the current story arcs with her in the comics, but I know she's always with Harley Quinn doing a whole bunch of cool things. So I appreciate that she's getting more comic time that's not just being a villain.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anyone is really using her to the extent that they could be using her.
Yeah. Speaking of that, there's also the kind of Thelma and Louise episode with Harley and Poison Ivy in Batman the Animated Series. The one where Harley, she sees Bruce Wayne and she puts her hand over his eyes and goes, "You look familiar. Something about that chin." which is freaking hilarious.
So good.
And then she
Harley.
recognizes, but she doesn't recognize him as Bruce. She's like, "Oh yeah, that's Bruce Wayne's chin." So yeah, pretty funny.
Can I say that I want to see Harley in season 3 of Young Justice?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Forget Joker. Pull Joker back out. Sorry, Mister
Yeah.
Brent.
Hey, I think if they wrote him a little bit better, Brent Spinner could do a great job with the voice.
Yeah.
They just need a better way to use Joker.
And I think it's Spiner. Someone corrected us. I think it's Spiner.
Well, hey, Brent, if you want to come on the show, that's whelmedpodcast@gmail.com.
That's right.
And grab your buddy LeVar. We can have a chit-chat.
That'd be awesome. Emily?
Well, hey, what do you guys
Neil?
think about Poison
Yeah.
Ivy?
I'll go first.
Yep.
Cool. I like Poison Ivy as much as the next girl, but I've always really... She's never really been one of my favorites. I'm more of a Catwoman gal when it comes to the Gotham City Sirens. And I don't have all of the DC history that you guys do, so I have not sought out major Poison Ivy plot lines, so I don't know that much about her as a character, and so then I don't know if her Young Justice portrayal is horrible, because some people who know more may think it is. I don't know. But she showed up, she controlled a giant plant. I'm like, that seems pretty Poison Ivy-ish. Speaking of Gotham, I will say, I personally like parts of Gotham, parts of it. And I always thought her portrayal in there, again, I don't know enough about Poison Ivy to know. I liked that she was a weird 9-year-old kid. I liked that they were just like, what do we do with Poison Ivy? She's 9. She has plants. I'm like, that's kind of hilarious to me. What they did with her in later seasons, I was always just like, why? Why are we going here? But okay, whatever. But that's because I am the fan of the tiny Batman adventures of Gotham rather than the police procedural. But that's just me.
Well, if Gotham knew what it was doing instead of being a garbage fire.
No, literally, I watch episodes, and if Selena Kyle is not in the episode, I don't pay attention. It's the truest thing in the world. I will watch an episode and come out of it and be like, I don't know what happened because Selena Kyle didn't show up. So, I don't care about
I'm just
Jim
glad
Gordon
Caleb and
enough
I
on the
agree
show.
on a live-action DC show for once. It's a garbage fire. It's just terrible.
It's a garbage fire. She walked around with goggles over her hoodie, looking like a glamour shop model while living on the streets.
Yeah.
No! No!
It's a superhero show. It doesn't have
No.
to be.
Not a superhero show. It's a...
That's true.
I'm gonna go throw some silverware.
Go
Go
throw
ahead.
silverware. It'd feel better.
I'm the person, I don't care about Jim Gordon enough for the Jim Gordon parts of the show, but if you give me 14-year-old Selena Kyle who's just living on the street and messing with Bruce Wayne's head, I'm like, that's fun. That's entertaining, at least. I don't have to watch people stand in a police station and be like, there's a guy in a suit, calls himself Penguin. He's messing
Well, it's
with
not
some
well
people."
written. It's terribly
Yeah,
written.
all of that was horrible.
All of it horrible.
Gor-
Okay,
Gordon-
let's move
Gordon
on from.
should-
So
Gordon
now that
should
we're
have been a
done
villain.
yelling about Gotham.
Yeah, Gotham
Hey,
deserves
Neil!
no airtime. Well, no airtime from us.
Let's start a new podcast where we just bag on Gotham all day.
I think that was in our
Listen.
first episode. We talked about that.
Also true. Neil, what are your thoughts about Poison Ivy?
I think that Poison Ivy has her initial origin story as the theft of an Egyptian artifact containing ancient herbs that essentially are iocane powder. They are both deadly and untraceable. And as any man would do in the 60s, they feel that she will implicate them in the theft and tries to poison her with them. It does not work out. Don't worry, though. The second origin story is way worse. So she is... and I quote, a timid, shy girl, easily seduced by her professor. And then she is injected with poisons and toxins as an experiment. So, there's your fun trivia on the early origins of Poison Ivy. So, for...
Newsflash, early comics were sexist. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, gotta love the agency there that she has in all of those origins.
Yes. So, and I think that's one of
Horrifying.
that kind of this overarching sexist portrayal of Poison Ivy for the longest time is why I like the Young Justice one so much, because she still had that like addled, not all there vibe of being just super, super into plants, but then still is like generating earth destroying plants.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like the first portrayal of her using her powers on a global scale that I can remember. Because normally it's
that's
on
actually true.
such a one-on-one personal scale with, and going back to Schumacher and blowing dust in Batman's face. There's plastic nipples. There's weird credit cards. Who knows? But with this, it's like she's literally creating plants that are destroying the world.
Yeah.
So I thought that it was a really good portrayal. Now, granted, it's one episode, so how does it stack up against the Joker? I think she wins. Against the Riddler, I don't know. I'm still really. Maybe that's someone who I think is underrated, kicking it back real fast. As I want more Riddler, I really do.
That's fair. We do talk about Riddler a bit in this last finale episode. So
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it is time to move on towards giving some shout-outs
There was
and
one more
acknowledgments.
part of that question that we didn't touch on.
No, there wasn't. What?
We didn't talk about favorite arcs with her. Favorite
Oh, I
comics
did.
with her.
I
Oh,
did. But do you guys have
everyone else
favorite
did.
arcs?
I just wanted to give a shout out.
Do you have an arc?
I just wanted to give a shout out to DC Bombshells, which I really enjoy because it's
Nice.
Yeah.
for anyone who doesn't know, DC Bombshells is a series that DC is currently publishing. It's ongoing right now. That started as a series of really fancy statues, then turned into variant covers that then got plastered over every possible piece of merchandise before they finally went, let's just make a story out of this. And it is set in the 1940s and is about various female DC heroes protecting the home front of America and abroad during World War II. A lot of people have described it, I think the creators have even described it as just the idea of what if all of the female characters came first. If it was Batwoman and Batgirl before it was Batman.
Nice.
So I've always
I
found
love
that series. I found that series really cool. And Poison Ivy is in that as a smuggler working with Catwoman for the beginning of her arc. She's a botanist. She is forced to sell luxuries to Nazis before eventually coming up with a plan to kill them and escape with Harley Quinn, and then continue to save the world with Harley Quinn, because Harley Quinn and Ivy are both kind of good guys in that series. And it's just really cool. So if you're looking for a series that's kind of different and out there and has Poison Ivy in a relationship with Harley Quinn, it was a big deal that this is like the first canon series that had their relationship be more than just subtext. They are actually in a relationship throughout almost the entire series. So if you're looking for something that has some interesting art and cool designs, go check out DC Bombshells. Shout out from me.
Perfect. I'm checking it out. That sounds amazing.
I agree, with the exception of the fact that their first kiss was so prominent on the internet that while I was trying to look up information for Poison Ivy, I literally couldn't get away from articles about the kiss. And I was like, this is great, but after the third one I read, I'm just like, please tell me about just Poison Ivy alone. That's all I want to know about right now. Please, internet.
It was a big deal. People freaked out. It was the last page of a comic of just being like, yeah, this is our finale, mic drop, and they've just gone with it from there.
Nice. All right,
Cool.
let's
Yeah,
move on to
I'll
our
back
Patreon
that. I
backers.
like the Bombshells. Cool. Well, Rich, why don't you go ahead and read off the names and teams of our new members here.
Yeah, we've got a handful of new members from the last time that we aired. We have, so our Team Delta members, new ones are Roy Westerman, who you will hear coming up soon from the Earth 27 project. Thank you, Roy. We also have GM, standing for Game Master, Gerrymander. GM Gerrymander. Oh, I see what he did there. Very nice. Thanks, man. Thanks for joining the team and helping us out. Chris Sneezak from the Misdirected Mark podcast, who's given us quite a few shout-outs on their podcast. Thank you so much, Chris. That's awesome. Our newest Team Gamma member has a familiar name, Melinda Booza. Is that a relative, Emily?
That's my mom. That's my
Aw.
super supportive nerd mom who likes it when I
nice.
can do fun things.
That's
She heard the
outstanding.
discussion episode and was like, I have to go support the thing my daughter's working on now.
Aw.
So
Thanks, Emily's mom.
She's the one
We
who
really
drove me
appreciate
to
it.
my first comic book store, and now she is contributing to a podcast where we talk about the thing that got me into a comic book store. So,
Fantastic.
full circle.
That is amazing. Our newest team beta member is Marcus Lang, who sent us in our letters column questions this Intel update. Thanks, Marcus. And then we have our first Team Alpha member, who is Ariel Weiss. So thank you, Ariel. You're actually going to be in the running for our quarterly superhero role-playing game that will be run by one of us, likely Caleb or myself, though Neil could certainly pull that off as well, I am sure, being the skilled game master that he is. But you should be getting some information on that fairly soon. And since right now you are our first and only Team Alpha member, you are going to be in that game. We just got to schedule it, so... That's going to be pretty amazing. So pop on over to patreon.com/crashingthemode and back us, and you'll be able to get some cool stuff. Also, our Team Beta and Team Alpha members also got free copies of the Masks role-playing game that we will be doing some actual plays for. So thanks so much, guys.
Outstanding. Yes, thank you all very much, especially Emily's mom. Thanks for letting her come out and play. And I think we need to wrap up here and move on to reading some of our reviews from probably mostly iTunes. I don't know. Rich copy and pasted all of these. I don't know where they came from.
Yeah, they're actually all iTunes with one exception. Marcus actually listens. Marcus, our newest team member, actually listens on Google Play. And I guess they don't do reviews. Like you can put a rating but no review. So he actually emailed us a review, which is pretty awesome.
Cool.
So... Caleb, can you read that one? Actually, he had requested you read it.
Now I'm worried. Is this some kind of eldritch spell that when I read it, something's going to happen?
It's possible.
All right.
All right,
Marcus. If something bad happens, I'm coming after you. Unless I'm dead. Caleb Gillimbardo and Rich Howard do a stellar job reviewing, analyzing, and discussing the Young Justice series along with the DC comic universe. I doubt there is anyone more knowledgeable about the Young Justice universe and canon in the world. Not even Greg Weisman himself knows all the tidbits and trivia that these guys know. The passion and dedication these two gentlemen have for Young Justice and comic books in general is amazing. If it were not for Whelmed, I would never have read any comic books from the DC universe. For this reason, it is incredibly special show for me. If you are a fan of Young Justice and or comic books, you will fall in love with this podcast. I have watched the Young Justice series multiple times, but after listening to these guys, I picked up so many new things and learned a lot. I am always looking forward to new episodes. Keep up the phenomenal work, guys. Sincerely, Marcus L.
It's fantastic, Marcus. Thank you. The next one is from Origami Samurai. It's called Just the Best. This is the kind of podcast I never would have imagined myself listening to. Why? Because it's an in-depth analysis of a cartoon. I mean, really, what could I get out of it that I didn't get out of watching the show the first time? Turns out, a lot. First off, the love that Rich and Caleb have for the show is nothing short of infectious. It's the kind of enthusiasm that can't help but brighten your day. For me, it got me to care about something I'd never really been a big fan of to begin with, which is the DC universe. I grew up watching Batman the Animated Series, but beyond that, I could take it or leave it. If you want to hear what I'm talking about, check out the Secret Origins episode for Robin/Dick Grayson. Warning, it has some serious feels. The episodes themselves are broken down into several sections, and generally most of the spoilers will be relegated to a special section toward the end of the episode. They have a separate section for discussing the basic plot of what happens in the episodes, and in-depth discussions, etc. And then the, hey, this section has spoilers in it. Anyways, if you haven't watched Young Justice, go do that yesterday. I'd actually recommend watching the series through, then listening to the podcast and rewatching. I guarantee there will be stuff you have missed, and it's worth rewatching. One hugely important and awesome section is the fan service. This is where they signal boost cool fan produced content that people have put together that relates to the show and the characters. You can also check out the show notes for more of this. There's awesome artwork and animated music videos out there that they try to make sure you'll find. Even if you're not a huge comic fan or superhero book nerd, I'm a case in point, you might just find yourself drawn in by the sheer enthusiasm of this incredibly entertaining podcast. Give it a listen. Thanks, man. That's awesome. Neil, the next couple are actually from out of the States. Neil, do you want to read one of those? The first one is from Ireland. Looks like.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was trying to find the username real quick so I don't forget to mention that. So this one is from Ireland, like you said, and from iTunes, from GoneX101X. I don't know what that means, but I really wish I did. And they titled it, Man, I Love This Show. What can I say? Every Friday evening, I come home and look at my podcatcher to see what I will be enjoying this weekend. I recently bought Young Justice Season 2 and cannot wait until they get to it. Well, awesome. Well, I'm off to watch episode 18, Misplaced.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
I like that. I like that he's just like mid watching the series. And I want to talk to people that are watching this series along with the episodes.
Yeah.
Being produced. I think it'd be so cool.
Super interesting. Emily, how about grabbing the next one? Is from Great Britain, actually.
Should I attempt to do this in a British accent? Because I am the
No,
actor
please
here.
don't.
Cool.
Please don't.
Just wanted to ask. Throwing it out there.
No, I mean,
Okay.
I would butcher it, so.
But listeners, if you would like to hear Emily attempt accents with your letters, write in whelmedpodcast@gmail.com.
I'm an actor. It's one of the things I have to learn how to do. And my British and my Irish are decent. They're about the only two
Oh,
that
then
are.
dive in then. I would butcher it.
Do it. Please do it. Please do it for me.
Now I'm going to ruin it just because I'm like thinking about it too hard. Love, love, love this podcast. Written by Black Dahlia 1947. What can I say? This podcast has everything. Shameless fangirling and boying, great discussions of YJ episodes, and some really insightful discussions on writing, storytelling, which I really wasn't expecting. Love it, guys.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Spot on, if you will.
I'm going to eat my words. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. I watched too much Harry Potter as a child, and I watched too much Doctor Who in middle school, and now this is what I can do.
Nice. All right, Caleb, I think you're up next.
Was this one from overseas? I don't see the note. Was this one from the U.S.?
No, this one's from the States,
Okay.
actually, yeah.
This one's coming back home to the States. Review by Oi Ray, titled Noted. Hey guys, it's Roy, your Beast Boy loving friend from Facebook. I was finally able to access iTunes to write you a review, and this, in case you haven't guessed, is said review. I have been listening since nearly the beginning, and it has been quite a ride. I found myself checking every day to see if a new episode has been added. I have always loved the teen heroes of the DC universe, and until YJ, they never seemed to get the decent time in the spotlight. I was immediately hooked by the series, but found I had no one to share my immense enthusiasm/passion with, no one to discuss or speculate with. 'Twas a lonely time. Then this podcast came down from the heavens and blessed me with a couple of nerds as nerded out by this show as I was. Their insight is great, their passion obvious enough cannot be said about this podcast. If you've seen YJ, this podcast is as essential. Wow, I can't talk today. If you've seen YJ, this podcast is... It does say is as. I'm reading it right. I'm not crazy. This is why they're firing me, guys. If you've seen YJ...
Welcome to reviews.
If you've seen YJ, this podcast is an essential accoutrement as the comics. Is as an essential accoutrement as the comics. There it is. I found it. If you haven't seen YJ, what have you been doing with your life? I find myself having discussions with the podcast as I am listening. Yeah, they talk over me, but it's fine. We're really just into this show. Keep up the great work, lads.
Nice. Thanks so much, man. He interacts with us a ton on Facebook in particular, but a little bit on iTunes as well. Thanks, Roy. The next one is from Lil Schwaz, Little Schwaz, entitled "Love This Podcast." I'd just like to say thank you so much for making your podcast. I listen to a podcast every single day, and it makes every day of my life better. I was starting to become less obsessed with Young Justice, and then my brother told me about your podcast. This podcast got me hooked again, so thank you so much for keeping me connected to the show, and make sure to keep making some perfect podcasts about Young Justice. Thank you.
That makes it my turn.
It does.
Yeah, I can do this. Oh my gosh, no I can't. What's that? Crow 01. Okay. So the next one is from Crow 01, and it is Forget the Aster, Feel the Love. It's in the air tonight. And Rich and Caleb bring all of the magic of the Young Justice show on the air. Now I'm going to read it. I forgot how bad some of these can be. You're right, Caleb. Read them all first.
We're professionals, guys. I promise.
I'm
okay.
looking for Pop-Tarts, Emily.
Pop-Tarts?
Rich and Caleb bring all of the magic of the Young Justice show on the air as they break down the episodes and characters while building a vibrant community. This is the show to listen to for all you've ever wanted to know about Young Justice. Thank you for all of your hard work, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And now it's my turn again. Cool.
It is.
This one is written by Duxman with the the best podcast up on the iTunes for Young Justice. The iTunes. When I searched for Young Justice, this podcast came up. Man,
we're all getting it now.
When I searched for Young Justice, this podcast came up. I didn't know where was, so until I listened to it, it's amazing. That's me reading verbatim. I promise. I'm doing my best here. I did not watch Young Justice it on syndication, but when I did watch it on Netflix, I fell in love with it, so I wanted to know if it was a podcast, and I found it. If you're Young Justice, then you must listen to this podcast and get ready for season 3. Yep.
Apparently that was an actual duck typing, because those feathers just don't work with keyboards.
It's possible. There was
pretty
definitely
sure it
some
was complimentary,
autocorrect
though.
problems on there.
I believe that was all a compliment, though. So
That's so good.
Yeah,
Thank
it was.
you.
It sounds like they might have used an audio dragon speak recording thing is what it looks like. I love it, and we love it. Thank you so much. The next one is from Upajoykel.
It's Frank.
Seems about right.
I know who Frank is.
Right?
I don't know. It's
You
from
know who Frank is?
I know Frank.
It says Frank. Oh,
Yeah.
Frank. You do know Frank. You should read this one.
Yeah, I should. That's what I was waiting for. You cut me off. It's the last time you cut me off, buddy.
You're fired.
That's right, I am fired. So Frank writes, amazing! Hey guys, Frank from Zero's Talking Heroes. That's Zero's Talking. That's at ZTH Podcast on Twitter or zthpodcast.com. I added that in for you guys. Just wanted to drop in and say how much I love this podcast. I have to catch up on the Young Justice show, but you guys are motivating me to get cracking on that because I've been missing out. P.S. I someday hope to get Matt to enjoy some DC stuff. Caleb, I got you, bro. Thanks, Frank. Good looking out. Those are all my buddies that do the ZTH podcast. It's a movie review. Yes. They're out of New York. It's a good, fun time. You should listen to them too. See, I got you back, bro. You got me. I got you. It's a bro down.
Nice. All right. Next one's from Lord Hermes. This podcast rules with like 20 exclamation points. Awesome podcast. 10 exclamation points. If you like YJ, you must listen to this podcast. Done. Straightforward, to the point. I love it.
That is all the great Lord Hermes has time for. A great show deserves a great podcast, and this is from Mecha Donzilla, who is a fantastic username. Well done, Mecha Donzilla. So good. Do you like superheroes? Do you like masterful writing? Do you want to hear people talk about the two together? Young Justice is easily the best show of its genre, and here oh my gosh, this one's so small. I have bad eyes, I guess. And here it is celebrated the way it should be. To add an extra layer worth listening to, they also have a segment where they speak in terms of writing and role-playing. This extra dimension adds so much to the allure of the listenership. There's no doubt the hosts love the source material, and you'll only love it more if you listen. Thank you, Mechadonzilla, because you gave me the chance to say Mechadonzilla so many times.
And last one is Feeling the Aster, written by Young Justice Needs a Season 3. And they say, awesome podcast with great content. I highly suggest it.
Hey.
Straightforward.
Yeah, because they're from Canada.
Yeah.
This is Max, who Scholbeck, who we interview on the show. Actually, one of our discussion sessions that's coming up. It's pretty amazing. He's a pretty cool guy. So thanks, man.
Does Max bring us any milk in a bag?
Is that a thing?
In Canada, it is.
In Canada.
Yeah.
Is it a thing?
As he skates over to us drinking maple syrup and putting vinegar on his french fries for some reason?
If I don't get milk in a bag, I'm done with this relationship. I'm going to quit the show.
Sorry, Max. I fired him.
True story behind why Caleb's leaving.
That's right.
Oh,
True story.
man.
He didn't get milk in a bag. He's out.
Well, this was a great time, guys. I think this was a real fun Intel update. Hey, listeners, I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, because we're a bunch of goofballs recording ourselves into the internet.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
And I think it's time to head out of the cave. I don't think we have anything else to really go over today. It's been an hour. Jeez.
Yeah. Let's edit that down a little bit.
No.
Just cut out me saying positive things about Gotham and we'll be good.
Oh, you just cut all the Gotham. Just burn all the Gotham parts.
And then burn the show down. And then the sets. And all the reels. And any hard drives that had it in digital format. And all the merchandise.
Caleb, Gotham is getting more airtime from us. Stop.
I would like to say words that I should not say on this PG-rated podcast about Gotham.
That's right. Do you want me to wrap up the show? I think you should say goodbye.
I think we should all say goodbye. This is the new team. This is what's going on.
That's right.
Let's have a sign off. What are some final words for this Intel update? Rich, final words.
Final words. Caleb, man, I love working with you. Don't go far. And Emily, I cannot be more excited about having you on the show. Thanks for coming and joining us and helping us. I'm really excited about it.
Neil, final words.
You should play the video game. It's pretty awful, and I want someone else to experience that besides me.
I played part of it. I couldn't even get through all of it. I'll just quote my favorite character and say I'm honored to be included. Yep, just gonna throw back to episode 2, Miss Martian. I'm honored to be included, and I'm so excited to be here, and I can't wait for everything we're going to be doing.
And for myself, I think there is only one way to sign off on this Intel update. That is probably my last participation on a vocal level, unless something else changes. See you later, armadillos. You've been listening to Whelmed, the Young Justice Files podcast. Our hosts are Rich Howard and Emily Booza. Our editor and producer is Neil Powell. Our theme was composed by Emily Mio. Our logo was created by Kevin Bates. Whelmed is a fan-made podcast and is not officially affiliated with DC Comics, DC Entertainment, Warner Brothers Animation, and any other owners of Young Justice or its related source material. As such, these companies have sole ownership of all symbols, images, names, logos, and proprietary material related to Young Justice. Original content of this podcast is ours under Creative Commons. Thanks for listening, and stay whelmed.